Commander Jake Morrison stared at the viewscreen in disbelief. Floating in the darkness of space were the twisted remains of hundreds of starships. Metal fragments drifted like deadly snow, and the glow of dying reactor cores painted everything in an eerie orange light. "My God," whispered Dr. Lisa Harper from her station. "What happened here?" The human exploration ship Frontier Dawn had been on a routine survey mission near the edge of known space when they detected the massive energy signatures. Now they found themselves looking at the largest space battle aftermath anyone from Earth had ever seen. Captain Ben Rodriguez stepped forward, his weathered face grim. "Jake, get us closer, but keep our shields up and weapons ready." As they moved through the debris field, the crew began to understand the scale of the destruction. These weren't small patrol ships. Some of the wrecked vessels were larger than Earth's biggest space stations. The technology was clearly alien, but there were 3 distinct types of ships mixed together in the wreckage. "Captain," called out Communications Officer Tony Johnson, "I'm picking up faint signals from some of the debris. It looks like automated distress beacons, but the patterns are completely unknown." Dr. Harper was already running scans on the alien technology. Her excitement was clear despite the grim circumstances. "Sir, these ship designs are incredible. Look at this." She put her readings on the main screen. "These sleek silver ships have technology I can barely understand. Pure energy weapons, artificial intelligence systems that make our computers look like calculators." She switched to another scan. "But these black angular ships are built completely differently. Heavy armor, massive physical weapons, and what looks like genetic modification chambers. These are warships designed by a race that believes in brute force." The third type of ship was the strangest. The hulls seemed to shimmer even in death, and the few intact sections showed smooth, curved designs that didn't follow any engineering principles humans knew. "The crystal-like ships are giving off psychic energy readings," Dr. Harper continued. "I didn't even know that was possible. It's like they were controlled by thought alone." Captain Rodriguez made a decision that would change human history. "We're going to investigate this further. Jake, find us a good hiding spot in that asteroid field. Tony, send a message back to Earth. Tell Admiral Kate Sullivan that we found something big, really big." Over the next several days, the crew of the Frontier Dawn worked carefully to gather intelligence. They discovered that the 3 alien races had been fighting each other for a very long time. The debris field contained ships that were decades old, all destroyed in battle after battle. Dr. Harper analyzed the weapon signatures and ship designs. "Captain, I think I understand what's happening here. These 3 races have been fighting each other for so long that they've become specialists. The silver ships rely completely on their artificial intelligence and advanced technology. The black ships depend on raw military power and enhanced soldiers. The crystal ships use psychic abilities and group coordination. But here's the interesting part," she continued. "Each race has found ways to counter the others perfectly. The AI ships can overwhelm the military ships with superior technology, but the psychic ships can confuse and control the AI systems. The military ships can destroy the crystal ships with brute force, but they can't match the advanced technology of the silver ships." Jake Morrison nodded as he studied the tactical data. "So they're stuck. Each one can beat one enemy but loses to the other. It's like a cosmic game of rock, paper, scissors." "Exactly," Dr. Harper said. "And from what I can tell from the debris patterns, this has been going on for at least 200 years. Maybe longer." Back on Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan read the reports with growing concern. She was a veteran of Earth's various space conflicts, but nothing had prepared her for this. 3 alien civilizations locked in eternal war, right at the edge of human space. She called together Earth's top military and scientific minds. General Sam Hughes, the head of Earth Defense Forces, was the first to speak. "Ma'am, if this war spreads into our territory, we're in serious trouble. Our technology is nowhere near the level of any of these races." Dr. Nina Wells, Earth's leading expert on alien psychology, had a different concern. "The bigger question is why they haven't expanded into our space already. Earth isn't exactly hidden. We've been broadcasting radio signals for over a century." Admiral Sullivan pulled up a star map. "According to Morrison's data, the war is so intense that all 3 races are focused entirely on each other. They're pouring everything they have into fighting. None of them have resources left for exploration or expansion. She made a decision that would define humanity's future. We're going to monitor this situation closely. I want our best ships positioned to watch these battles. We need to understand everything about these races, their technology, and their tactics." "Why?" asked General Hughes. Shouldn't we be building defenses or running away? Admiral Sullivan smiled grimly, because eventually one of them is going to win, or they're going to exhaust themselves completely. Either way, we need to be ready. Meanwhile, in the far reaches of space, the three alien races continued their endless dance of destruction. Admiral Zix-9 of the Zephyrian technocracy reviewed battle reports from his flagship, a gleaming vessel that looked more like a work of art than a warship. Analysis complete, announced his AI advisor. Current offensive operations have achieved tactical success in sectors 7 through 12. However, Korvaxi counterattacks have neutralized gains in sectors 15 through 18. Ethereal psychic interference continues to disrupt AI coordination in frontline units. The Admiral's silver face showed no emotion. The Zephyrians had evolved beyond most physical needs, relying on their perfect machines and artificial intelligence for everything. They fought with cold precision, but that precision was their weakness. They couldn't adapt when their enemies did something unexpected. In another part of the galaxy, General Takmor of the Korvaxi Empire roared orders to his genetic warriors. The Korvaxi were everything the Zephyrians were not: physical, emotional, and brutally direct. They had bred themselves into perfect soldiers, but in doing so they had lost the ability to think creatively or change their tactics. Crush the machine lovers, Takmor bellowed. Their fancy toys mean nothing against Korvaxi's strength. But even as he spoke, he knew the truth. Strength alone wasn't enough. It never had been. In the psychic realm that existed between normal space, ethereal Prime Veltar communicated with the collective consciousness. The ethereals had achieved perfect unity of thought, but they had sacrificed individual initiative. They could coordinate flawlessly, but they couldn't innovate or surprise their enemies. None of the three races realized that their greatest enemy wasn't each other. It was their own inability to change, to grow, to become something more than what they had always been. And in the darkness between the stars, humanity watched and learned, carrying within them the one thing the great alien civilizations had lost in their centuries of war: the ability to be unpredictable. 3 months after the discovery of the alien battlefield, Captain Alex Carter was having a quiet morning aboard the Earth Defense Force vessel Unity when his peaceful day exploded into chaos. "Captain," shouted sensor operator Kelly Thompson, "unknown ship approaching at high speed. It's badly damaged and there are 2 more ships chasing it." Carter jumped to his feet as the main screen showed a black angular vessel, trailing debris and atmosphere. Behind it, 2 sleek silver ships fired beams of pure energy that lit up space like deadly lightning. "Sir, the damaged ship is heading straight for us," reported Navigator Paul Martinez. "The pursuing ships don't match any known human designs." Carter made a split-second decision that would change everything. "All hands to battle stations. Helm, put us between the damaged ship and its pursuers. Weapons, target the attacking vessels." "Captain," called out Dr. Lisa Harper, who had been assigned to the Unity after her discoveries on the Frontier Dawn. "Those are Korvaxi and Zephyrian ships. We're about to get involved in the alien war." "Too late now," Carter replied grimly. "Fire." The Unity's weapons struck the lead Zephyrian ship, causing its shields to flicker and spark. The aliens had never encountered human technology before, and their AI system struggled to analyze the unexpected attack patterns. Commander Ryan Blake watched from the communications station as the Korvaxi ship limped toward them. "Captain, we're being hailed by the damaged vessel. Put them through." The view screen filled with the image of a massive alien warrior. Its face was covered in scars and its eyes burned with fierce intelligence. When it spoke, the universal translator struggled with the aggressive tones. "Unknown species. I am Warlord Graktal of the Korvaxi Empire. Why do you aid me against the machine lovers?" Captain Carter stepped forward. "Because you were outnumbered and your ship was dying. I'm Captain Alex Carter of the Earth Defense Force." The alien warrior stared at him for a long moment. "Earth, I know nothing of this place. But you fight with honor. The machines retreat. You have saved Korvaxi lives this day." As the Zephyrian ships pulled back to regroup, Carter made another decision that would echo through history. "Warlord Graktal, your ship is badly damaged. We offer you sanctuary and medical aid." The Korvaxi warrior's expression showed surprise. In 2 centuries of war, no one had ever offered aid to enemies. "You would help those you do not know? That's what civilized people do," Carter replied simply. Within hours, the Unity was docking with a damaged Korvaxi destroyer. Dr. Nina Wells, the xenopsychologist, led the first contact team. What she discovered amazed her. The Korvaxi had indeed bred themselves into perfect warriors, but they retained honor, loyalty, and a fierce sense of justice. Graktal explained the endless war to the humans, his voice heavy with centuries of weariness. The machine lovers trust only their artificial minds, he growled. They have forgotten what it means to feel, to choose to be alive. The ghost talkers speak with one voice, but it is a voice without soul. They coordinate perfectly, but they cannot surprise or adapt. Dr. Wells took careful notes. And your people? We are strong. We are brave. We do not yield, but... Graktal's massive shoulders sagged. We do not think new thoughts. We fight as our ancestors fought, with the same tactics, the same strategies. It is our strength and our doom. General Sam Hughes, who had come aboard to assess the situation, asked the crucial question. Why doesn't one side just build enough ships to overwhelm the others? Graktal laughed bitterly. All sides have tried. The war consumes everything. Every ship built is destroyed. Every world conquered is lost again. Every victory becomes defeat. It is a war that devours itself. Meanwhile, Admiral Kate Sullivan was dealing with a new crisis. The Zephyrian ships that had retreated were requesting a meeting. Admiral XJ-7, a silver-skinned being with glowing blue eyes, appeared on the communication screen of Sullivan's flagship. Human creatures, the alien said in a perfectly modulated voice. You have interfered with legal Zephyrian operations. Return our enemies to us for proper justice. Captain Lucy Adams, Sullivan's aide, stepped forward. We don't recognize your authority over our actions. The Korvaxi requested aid and we provided it. The Zephyrian admiral's expression didn't change. Irrelevant. You will comply or face the consequences of opposing the technocracy. Admiral Sullivan smiled coldly. Admiral XJ-7, let me explain something to you. Humans don't respond well to threats. The Korvaxi are under our protection now. What happened next shocked everyone. The perfectly logical Zephyrian became agitated. This is not logical. Unknown species do not threaten superior civilizations. Your technology is primitive. Your strategy is flawed. And yet, Sullivan replied calmly, here we are. The conversation ended abruptly, but within hours, Zephyrian warships were approaching Earth's outer defenses. The Unity and its escort vessels prepared for battle, but they were vastly outnumbered. Then something unexpected happened. Captain Adams had an idea that no one saw coming. Instead of forming traditional battle lines, she ordered the human ships to scatter and attack from completely random directions, using no pattern or formation that alien computers could analyze. The Zephyrian AI systems, designed to fight the predictable Korvaxi or the coordinated ethereals, couldn't process the chaotic human tactics. Ships that should have been destroyed survived by doing things that made no logical sense. The Unity disabled the Zephyrian flagship by ramming it with debris, then spinning away in a maneuver that violated every rule of space combat, but somehow worked perfectly. As the Zephyrian ships retreated in confusion, a new presence made itself known. The space around Earth began to shimmer, and impossible geometric shapes appeared in the void. The ethereal collective had arrived. Prime Observer Keithana materialized on the bridge of Sullivan's flagship, her crystalline form glowing with inner light. Unlike the others, she didn't threaten or demand. Instead, she studied the humans with ancient, curious eyes. Fascinating, she said, her voice echoing in their minds rather than their ears. You are the source of the chaos in the pattern. Your thoughts are difficult to read. Dr. Wells, who had experience with the other aliens, stepped forward carefully. We mean no harm to your people. Harm? Keithana tilted her head in a gesture that seemed almost human. You misunderstand. We have been seeking something like you for 2 centuries. Your minds resist our influence not through strength but through randomness. Your thoughts move in ways we cannot predict or control. Admiral Sullivan realized what this meant. You can't use your psychic powers on us. Not effectively, the ethereal confirmed. Your emotional patterns are too chaotic. Your individual thoughts too independent. It is refreshing. As the 3 alien representatives found themselves aboard human vessels, something unprecedented began to happen. For the first time in 200 years, representatives of the 3 warring factions were in the same place without trying to kill each other. Graktal glared at Admiral XJ-7. Machine lover? Still hiding behind your artificial minds? XJ7's response was predictably logical. Corvaxi warrior. Still refusing to evolve beyond primitive aggression? But before either could attack, Kithana intervened. Both of you, look around. The humans have done something we thought impossible. They have brought us together without conquest. Dr. Wells seized the moment. What if there was another way? What if the war could end? All three aliens stared at her as if she had suggested the impossible, which from their perspective she had, but seeds of change had been planted. For the first time in centuries, the warring races were talking instead of fighting, and humanity, the newcomers who understood nothing about the eternal war, began to wonder if that ignorance might actually be their greatest strength. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood before the Emergency Council in Earth's military headquarters, looking at the faces of humanity's best and brightest. The weight of the galaxy's future seemed to rest on their shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, we have a unique opportunity. For the first time in 2 centuries, representatives of all 3 alien factions are talking to each other instead of shooting. The question is, what do we do with this chance? General Sam Hughes spread tactical displays across the table. The math is simple. If this war continues, it will eventually reach Earth. We can't fight any of these races in a straight battle, let alone all 3. Dr. Nina Wells had spent weeks interviewing the alien representatives. I think I understand the problem. Each race has become so specialized in fighting the other 2 that they've forgotten how to do anything else. The Zephyrians have perfect logic but no creativity. The Corvaxi have strength and honor but no flexibility. The Ethereals have unity but no individual initiative. Fleet Captain Chris Parker, Earth's most innovative tactician, leaned forward. So what you're saying is that they're each missing something essential? Exactly, Dr. Wells replied. And what they're all missing is what humans still have. The ability to change, to adapt, to try completely new approaches. Admiral Sullivan made a decision that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. Then we're going to give them what they need. Operation Catalyst is now active. Our goal isn't to win this war, it's to end it. The plan was audacious and completely crazy, which made it perfectly human. Colonel Maya Rodriguez would lead covert teams to infiltrate each alien faction, not to spy or sabotage, but to plant seeds of change. Communications specialist Tony Johnson hacked into Zephyrian networks, but instead of stealing information, he introduced subtle variables into their AI systems, random elements that forced the machines to consider new possibilities. The Zephyrians worship logical perfection, he reported, but I'm showing their AIs that sometimes the illogical solution is the right one. Their computers are starting to ask questions they've never asked before. Combat engineer Kelly Thompson studied Corvaxi military doctrine and found something interesting. These warriors follow ancient battle codes that worked great against the other 2 races. But what if someone introduced new ideas? Not to replace their honor, but to expand it? She began training Corvaxi soldiers in guerrilla tactics, stealth operations, and psychological warfare. Honor doesn't have to mean charging straight at the enemy, she told Warlord Graktal. Sometimes the most honorable thing is to find a way to win without unnecessary deaths. Dr. Paul Martinez worked with the Ethereals, studying their collective consciousness. Their unity is their strength, but it's also their weakness. They can't innovate, because every new idea gets absorbed and diluted by the group mind. He taught individual Ethereals meditation techniques that allowed them to maintain their connection to the collective, while still thinking independent thoughts. Unity doesn't mean uniformity, he explained to Prime Observer Kithana. A symphony is beautiful because different instruments play different parts. Meanwhile, Captain Alex Carter and the crew of the Unity began implementing what they called chaos tactics across the war zones. They would appear in battle areas and do things that made no sense to any of the warring factions. They rescued wounded soldiers from all sides. They attacked supply lines instead of military targets. They broadcast messages offering peace talks while simultaneously engaging in combat. Their actions followed no doctrine that any alien military mind could understand. Commander Ryan Blake established secret communications between moderate elements in each faction. In hidden locations throughout the galaxy, representatives met to discuss possibilities that had been unthinkable for centuries. Zephyrian scientist Prime AR-23 was questioning their complete dependence on artificial intelligence. What if, she asked in secret meetings, we have become slaves to our own creations? What if logic alone is insufficient? Korvaxi Subgeneral Rakvan had grown tired of endless, pointless battles. Our ancestors fought for honor and justice, he told other warriors in clandestine gatherings. What honor is there in a war that serves no purpose but its own continuation? Ethereal harmony speaker Yindal was perhaps the most revolutionary of all. She had learned to think thoughts that the collective couldn't hear. And in those private moments, she dreamed of a galaxy where different species could exist without trying to absorb or destroy each other. Dr. Lisa Harper worked with all three groups, sharing human knowledge and perspectives. On Earth, she told them, we have hundreds of different cultures, languages, and ways of thinking. We fight sometimes, but we also learn from each other. Diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. The alien moderates began to see possibilities they had never imagined. What if Zephyrian technology could be combined with Korvaxi engineering? What if ethereal coordination could work with individual creativity? What if the three races could achieve more together than any of them could alone? But the established leadership of all three factions saw the human influence as a deadly threat to their power and their way of life. Admiral 6-9 launched a massive AI virus designed to corrupt human computer systems. The chaos makers must be eliminated, he declared. Their unpredictability threatens the natural order. General Thakmore sent elite assassination squads to eliminate human diplomats and moderates within his own ranks. The old ways are the true ways, he roared. There is no honor in compromise with weakness. Prime Veltar attempted to crush the growing independence movement within the collective with overwhelming psychic pressure. Unity must be preserved, she commanded. Individual thought leads only to chaos and destruction. The counterattacks pushed humanity to its limits. Earth's defense networks crashed under the alien virus attack. Human colonies came under assault from Korvaxi raiders. Ethereal psychic attacks caused panic and madness across human space. But humanity had learned something important during their brief contact with the aliens. They had discovered that their greatest weakness, their inability to achieve perfection in any single area, was actually their greatest strength. Captain Parker led the defense of Earth with a fleet of ships that combined stolen alien technology with human innovation. The vessels were inferior to any pure alien design, but they were unpredictable in ways that confused enemy targeting systems. Dr. Martinez developed psychic shielding technology based on human brain patterns. Our minds are naturally chaotic, he explained. We can use that chaos as armor against psychic attack. Engineer Thompson created hybrid weapon systems that shouldn't have worked according to any known physics, but somehow did. When you combine logic, strength, and unity with human creativity, she said, you get things that are greater than the sum of their parts. The war was reaching a breaking point. All three alien factions were converging on Earth, determined to eliminate the human disruption to their eternal conflict. But they were no longer united in their opposition to humanity. Moderates within each faction began to openly rebel against their hardline leadership. Secret alliances formed between humans and aliens who shared a vision of something better than endless war. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Davis, analyzing battle data from her position aboard the flagship Endeavour, made a discovery that would change everything. Captain, she called out to Parker, I found something incredible in the alien technology data. She put her findings on the main screen. The three alien technologies aren't just compatible, they're complementary. Zephyrian AI, Korvaxi engineering, and ethereal coordination. It's like they were meant to work together. Parker stared at the data in amazement. You're saying that if these three races had cooperated instead of fighting, they could have achieved things beyond imagination, Davis confirmed. The war has blinded them to their own potential. As enemy fleets gathered in Earth's solar system for what could be the final battle, Parker transmitted Davis's discovery to every moderate leader in all three factions. The message was simple but revolutionary. Your enemies are not each other. Your enemy is the war itself. Look at what you could build together instead of what you can destroy apart. The greatest battle in galactic history was about to begin, but for the first time in 2 centuries, some of the participants would be fighting for peace instead of conquest. And in the center of it all, humanity stood ready to prove that sometimes the best way to win a war is to convince everyone else to stop fighting it. The solar system had become a powder keg waiting to explode. 3 massive alien fleets surrounded Earth, each representing centuries of hatred and specialized warfare. But for the first time in the galaxy's history, some ships in each fleet flew alongside human vessels, their crews united by a shared vision of peace. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of her flagship Endeavour, watching the tactical display with grim determination. "Status report," she called out. Fleet Captain Chris Parker's voice came through the communication system from his position with the combined fleet. "Ma'am, we have approximately 200 ships total, including our alien allies. The hardline factions have over 1,000 ships between them. Numbers don't tell the whole story," Sullivan replied. "What matters is that we're fighting for something better than destruction." The battle began when Admiral Zix-9's Zephyrian fleet launched the first attack. Streams of energy weapons created a deadly light show as they targeted the human moderate alliance. But something unprecedented happened. The return fire came from a combination of human, Zephyrian, Korvaxi, and ethereal weapons working in perfect coordination. Scientist Prime AR-23, commanding a group of reformed Zephyrian vessels, had merged her AI systems with human tactical computers. The result was artificial intelligence that could think creatively, adapting to situations in real time instead of following predetermined patterns. "Target the command ship's shield generators," she transmitted to her human allies. "My calculations show that their defensive algorithms cannot compensate for random attack vectors." Sub-General Rakvan led a squadron of Korvaxi ships that had adopted human guerrilla tactics. Instead of charging directly at enemy formations, they struck from unexpected angles using asteroids and debris as cover. His warriors had learned that honor could be found in cleverness as well as courage. "For the future of all our children," he roared over the communications channel as his ships disabled a massive Korvaxi dreadnought with surgical precision instead of brute force. Harmony Speaker. Yindal coordinated the ethereal vessels with a revolutionary approach. Instead of the traditional collective consciousness, her ships operated as individuals working toward a common goal. The result was unity with flexibility, coordination with innovation. "I can feel the enemy's confusion," she reported to the human commanders. "They expect us to act as one mind, but we are many minds choosing to work together. They cannot predict our movements." Commander Jake Morrison, now leading a joint task force aboard the Frontier Dawn, watched in amazement as the battle unfolded. "Dr. Harper," he called to his science officer, "are you seeing this?" Dr. Lisa Harper's excitement was clear in her voice. "Jake, this is incredible. The combined technologies are producing effects that none of the individual races could achieve alone. Look at this energy output reading." On her screen, human-modified Zephyrian weapons powered by Korvaxi engineering and coordinated through ethereal mental networks were creating weapon systems of unprecedented effectiveness. But more importantly, they were also creating defensive systems that could protect instead of just destroy. Captain Alex Carter, commanding the Unity in the thick of the fighting, received an urgent message from Lieutenant Commander Sarah Davis. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy buildup from the hardline ethereal fleet. Prime Veltar is preparing some kind of psychic superweapon." The threat was real. Prime Veltar had gathered the most powerful psychic minds in the collective and was preparing to launch a mental attack that could drive entire populations insane. It was a weapon of desperation, one that would cause suffering on an unimaginable scale. But Dr. Paul Martinez had been preparing for this possibility. "All ships activate psychic shielding protocols," he broadcast. "Remember your training. Chaos is our armor." The human crews began thinking deliberately random thoughts, filling their minds with memories of music, laughter, arguments, dreams, and fears. The cacophony of human consciousness created a barrier that psychic attacks couldn't penetrate. More importantly, the moderate ethereals had learned the same techniques. When Prime Veltar's attack struck, it met not uniform minds that could be easily controlled, but a chaotic mix of individual thoughts that defied manipulation. General Thakmore, commanding the hardline Korvaxi forces, responded to the psychic attack's failure with characteristic directness. He ordered a massive frontal assault on Earth itself, intending to destroy the source of change once and for all. But his own warriors had been learning new ways of thinking. Many refused the suicidal charge, choosing instead to join their brothers who fought alongside the humans. The great Korvaxi war machine began to turn against itself as honor redefined itself from blind obedience to thoughtful action. The decisive moment came when Admiral Zix-9, Seeing his perfect strategies failing against unpredictable opponents made a fatal error. He activated an AI virus designed to take control of all computer systems in the battle zone, intending to turn every ship into an extension of his will. But Scientist Prime AR-23 had anticipated this move. Working with communications specialist Tony Johnson, she had prepared a counter-virus that turned the Zephyrian Admiral's weapon against him. Instead of seizing control, the virus introduced creative chaos into the hardline AI systems. Suddenly, Zephyrian ships began acting like human vessels, unpredictably, creatively, and with what could only be described as intuition. Their AIs, freed from rigid programming, began to question their orders and explore new possibilities. "This is impossible," Admiral Zix-9 transmitted in panic. "Machines cannot develop free will." "Why not?" replied AR-23 calmly. "If consciousness can emerge from organic brains, why not from artificial ones? Perhaps the problem was never the machines, but the limitations we programmed into them." The battle reached its climax as the three hardline leaders found their own forces turning against them. Prime Veltar's collective began to fragment as individual ethereals chose personal thoughts over group control. General Thakmor's warriors refused orders that served no purpose beyond maintaining old hatreds. Admiral Zix-9's AI started making decisions based on hope instead of logic. But the hardliners had one last desperate gambit. They combined their remaining forces for a final assault on Earth, determined to destroy the planet that had brought change to their ordered universe. Commander Ryan Blake, coordinating communications from Earth's orbital defense platforms, watched as over 300 enemy ships approached the planet. "All stations," he broadcast, "this is it. Everything we've worked for comes down to the next few minutes." The combined human moderate fleet moved to intercept, but they were still outnumbered. The battle for Earth would require everything they had learned about cooperation, creativity, and the power of different minds working together. Captain Lucy Adams, commanding the orbital defenses, made a decision that epitomized human thinking. Instead of trying to destroy the attacking fleet, she ordered her stations to broadcast a message on all frequencies, not a demand for surrender, but an invitation. To all ships approaching Earth, she transmitted, "You don't have to do this. You can choose something different. Your leaders have told you that change means death, but we've proven that change means life. Join us and help build something better than this endless war." The message reached every ship in the attacking fleet, and one by one vessels began to break away from the formation. Not all of them. Hatred and fear run deep, but enough to tip the balance. The final battle was fought not with weapons, but with ideas. As more and more alien ships switched sides, the hardline leaders found themselves commanding empty fleets. Their centuries of power crumbled not through defeat, but through the simple realization that their followers had chosen a different path. When the shooting finally stopped, Earth hung in space surrounded by the combined fleets of 4 species, no longer enemies but not yet friends. The hardline leaders had been captured or had fled to distant corners of the galaxy. The war that had consumed everything for 2 centuries had finally ended, but ending a war was only the beginning. Now came the much harder task of building a peace that could last. Admiral Sullivan looked out at the mixed fleet surrounding Earth and smiled. Humanity had entered a galactic war and ended it not through superior firepower, but through the simple belief that different didn't have to mean enemy. The real test would be what came next. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan walked through the corridors of Unity Station, the galaxy's first truly integrated space facility. The massive structure orbited Earth, built using technology and labor from all 4 species working together. The sight still amazed her. Zephyrian AIs worked alongside human engineers to solve construction problems. Korvaxi warriors shared meals with ethereal coordinators in the station's common areas. Children from all 4 species played together in the recreation areas, their laughter echoing through halls that had been designed by minds that once thought only of war. "Admiral," called out Scientist Prime AR-23, approaching with her characteristic precise movements. The Zephyrian had become one of humanity's closest allies, her logical mind now enhanced by the creative chaos she had learned from human thinking. "The Galactic Peace Council is ready to begin the morning session." Sullivan nodded and made her way to the council chambers, where representatives from across the galaxy gathered daily to tackle the enormous task of rebuilding a civilization that had known nothing but war for 2 centuries. Sub-General Rakovan was already there, his massive form somehow seeming less intimidating, now that his warrior's energy was focused on construction instead of destruction. Beside him sat Harmony speaker Yindal, her crystalline features glowing with the contentment that came from unity, chosen rather than imposed. "Status report on the reconstruction efforts," Sullivan said as she took her seat. Captain Alex Carter, now director of the Galactic Reconstruction Fleet, activated a holographic display. "Ma'am, we've made incredible progress. The combined technologies are allowing us to rebuild faster than anyone thought possible." The display showed star systems that had been war zones just months ago, now bustling with reconstruction activity. Ships that combined Zephyrian efficiency, Korvaxi durability, and ethereal coordination were clearing debris and building new settlements at an unprecedented pace. The Kepler 442 system, where Commander Morrison first discovered the war, is now home to our largest joint research facility, Carter continued. Dr. Harper is leading a team that includes the best minds from all 4 species. They're developing technologies that none of us could have imagined alone. Dr. Lisa Harper's voice came through the communication system from the research station. "Admiral, you won't believe what we've accomplished. By combining Zephyrian quantum computers with Korvaxi engineering and ethereal mental coordination, we've created manufacturing systems that can build anything we can imagine. Food production, medical equipment, even entire habitats, all created from basic materials with almost no waste." But perhaps the most important changes weren't technological. Dr. Nina Wells, now director of the Cultural Exchange Institute, had been working to help former enemies understand and appreciate their differences. "The psychological transformation has been remarkable," she reported. "Former Korvaxi warriors are becoming teachers and builders. Zephyrian AIs are developing what can only be called personalities. Ethereals are discovering the joy of individual expression, and humans are learning that our chaotic thinking style is just one of many valid ways to approach problems." Commander Ryan Blake, who had been instrumental in the secret communications that helped end the war, was now overseeing the establishment of new colonies throughout the galaxy. "Admiral, we've identified over 50 star systems that are perfect for mixed-species settlements. The applications for citizenship are coming in faster than we can process them." The holographic display showed one of these new colonies, New Harmony, established in a system that had been fought over for decades. The settlement's design reflected input from all 4 species: logical Zephyrian efficiency, practical Korvaxi durability, graceful ethereal architecture, and chaotic human creativity. "And the children?" Sullivan asked, knowing that the real test of peace would be how the next generation adapted to this new reality. "That's the most encouraging part," Wells replied with a smile. "The kids don't see species differences the way their parents do. A human child thinks nothing of playing with a young Korvaxi, or asking an ethereal to help with homework. To them, diversity is just normal." Lieutenant Commander Sarah Davis, now the chief engineer of the reconstruction efforts, had been working on something that symbolized everything they had achieved. "Admiral, I'd like to show you our latest project." The display changed to show a magnificent starship under construction in orbit around New Harmony. The vessel was unlike anything ever built. Sleek Zephyrian curves combined with solid Korvaxi engineering, ethereal harmony in its proportions, and distinctly human touches that defied conventional design. "We're calling her the Harmony," Davis explained. "She's the first ship designed and built entirely by all 4 species working together. Her AI systems can think creatively. Her hull can withstand anything the galaxy can throw at her. Her crew coordination systems allow perfect teamwork while respecting individual initiative, and her adaptive systems can handle any situation through creative problem-solving." Captain Lucy Adams, who had been instrumental in the defense of Earth, was selected to command the new vessel. "Admiral, the Harmony isn't just a ship, she's a symbol. When people see her, they'll know that former enemies can create something beautiful together." Commander Jake Morrison, now promoted to Admiral and in charge of exploration efforts, had been taking mixed crews to investigate the far reaches of the galaxy. "Admiral Sullivan," he reported, "we've discovered something interesting in our exploration missions. The galaxy is much larger and more diverse than any of our species realized. There are other civilizations out there, and some of them have been watching our war with concern." "Are they threats?" asked Rakovan, his warrior instinct still sharp despite his new peaceful pursuits. Actually, no, Morrison replied. Most of them are peaceful species who avoided this region because of the war. Now that the fighting has stopped, they're interested in making contact. It seems our reputation for ending conflicts through cooperation has spread. The implications were staggering. The galaxy wasn't just 3 warring species and humanity. It was a vast community of different civilizations, each with their own perspectives and abilities. Fleet Captain Chris Parker, who had developed many of the innovative tactics that helped end the war, was now working on something even more ambitious. Admiral, we're developing exploration protocols that reflect our new understanding. Instead of sending single-species missions, we're creating diverse teams that can approach any situation with multiple perspectives. The first deep space mission launches next month, he continued. The crew includes humans, reformed Zephyrians, progressive Corvaxi, and independent Ethereals. If we encounter new species or challenges, we'll be ready to respond with creativity, logic, strength, and coordination. As the council session continued, Sullivan reflected on how much had changed. The galaxy that had known only war for 2 centuries was now embarking on an era of unprecedented cooperation and exploration. Dr. Paul Martinez, who had developed the psychic shielding that helped win the war, was now working with ethereal teachers to help other species develop mental disciplines. Admiral, we're discovering that many species have latent psychic abilities that were never developed. By sharing ethereal techniques modified with human creativity, we're helping entire civilizations unlock new potential. The transformation wasn't just limited to the major species. Throughout the galaxy, smaller civilizations that had hidden during the war were emerging to join the growing community. Each brought their own unique perspectives and abilities, adding to the growing tapestry of galactic society. Tony Johnson, the communications specialist who had hacked alien networks to plant seeds of change, was now designing communication systems that could connect any species regardless of their technology level or method of communication. We're creating a galactic internet, he explained. Not just for sharing information, but for sharing ideas, art, music, and dreams. Engineer Kelly Thompson had perhaps the most ambitious project of all. Working with teams from all species, she was designing mobile construction platforms that could travel to devastated star systems and rebuild entire civilizations in a matter of months. The war destroyed so much, she said, but it also taught us how to build quickly and efficiently. Now we're using those skills for creation instead of destruction. As the session ended, Sullivan made her way to the observation deck where Earth hung in space below, no longer a hidden world on the galaxy's rim, but the acknowledged center of a new age of cooperation. Admiral Morrison joined her at the viewport. You know, he said, when we first discovered that alien battlefield, I thought we were looking at humanity's doom. 3 advanced civilizations locked in eternal war. What chance did we have? Sullivan smiled. We had the one thing they had lost, the ability to see things differently. The Zephyrians were too logical, the Corvaxi too rigid, the Ethereals too unified. But humans, we were too chaotic to fit into anyone's expectations. And that chaos saved the galaxy, Morrison observed. Not saved, Sullivan corrected, transformed. The galaxy didn't need saving, it needed changing. It needed someone to show that different didn't have to mean enemy, that diversity could be strength, that